you're welcome to another module of Teach Yourself QuickBooks. So far, we've been discussing how you can do your company setup, how to do your opening balance, and how to manage your chart of accounts. Now, this section is another interesting part of QuickBooks that you need to know, and it's quite simple and straightforward. And this section basically is focused on how to add your stock, how to manage your inventory, and also if you run a business where there are multiple sites, multiple locations, and you want to know how the system can also help you to track movements of stock from one location to another. I think this is a module you should be paying attention to right now. Example, you can run a business like a supermarket where you have different branches, you have different outlets, you have different shops, and you're looking for an accounting software that can help you manage this business and also take account of movement of your inventory from one location to another. Or possibly you're a manufacturing company, you have different warehouses and you want to track movement of your stock, or you have your branch in different locations, different states, and you move your product from one location to another, and you're also interested in how the system can also help you to manage that. I think this module is the best part. It's one of the best section you should be paying attention to, as I'm going to teach you how to add your inventory and also how to add your locations and all that. That's where I'm going to focus on right now. So the first thing you need to do when you want to add your inventory is to ask yourself, what are the products that you sell, what are the services that you sell. If you're a service-based company, you know that's not really necessary for now because you don't need to transfer service from one location to another. Your question is, how do I impute my service, which is what I'm going to start with right now. Now, if you are a consulting company, you are service based and you want to see how do we track income from our professional service and all that, this is how to do that. In QuickBooks window, you will go to list. When you go to list, you click item list. Now this item list lets you to track all the income that you earn from your revenue channels. Your revenue channels are your sources of income. Like if you look at this system, you will see that it's still empty. Now if you're a service-based company and you want to add your revenue sources, you go to item, you click new. When you click new, you will see a window that appears. Now with this section, we're going to select what are we adding. We are adding service, so here you select service. Now under service, you enter the service name. Example, it could be professional, it could be professional service, so we'll enter professional service here. So if you render a service to your client, this is what you use to add the name of the service. Now if that service is vatable, you could remember in initial setup I explained how to set up your VAT. Now whenever you are adding an item and you are expected to charge 5% on every service that you rendered, which will be remitted to tax authority, you have to attach that. I was discussing, at the point of discussing VAT, I talked about how to add your code. This is the code 111. So if you want to understand how I did this, you can go back to your setup and look at how we're able to add our VAT. It's very important. Then when you click here 111, it will select, which means whenever we create an invoice, automatically 5% will be charged on that particular the other particular invoice, whatever amount it is. So now when we render a professional service, what account do we want to use to track that? This leads us back to our chart of account. I explained a chart of account is an account that categorizes all your transactions to either income, expenses, assets, or liability. Now if you look at this section, you will see that we only have two income heads, which is sales and uncategorized income. But for the kind of business we run, we don't use sales to classify that because it's a professional service. We want to make it more detailed, we want to make it more specific. We say consulting income or professional service, so that when we look at our P&L, what we want to see there is professional service, not sales. So all you need to do is come down to your account. Now because what we want to select on the income is not there, you scroll down to add new. Note that in QuickBooks, when you have a list of items to select from and what you want to select is not there, you can always add new. When you click add new, The question is the account type we want to add is an income head. Then what is the account name? We are calling it professional service. So here you enter professional service here, then you click save and close. So which means whenever we render a professional service, the account to track income for professional service is also professional service. Now because our professional service is not fixed, we leave it at 0 so that when we are creating an invoice, we can always enter the value on the invoice depending on our negotiation with the client. Then we'll click OK. When you click OK, you can see that it's professional service here. So that is how to add your professional service. To confirm this, if you go back to your home, now if we are creating an invoice, we are sending it to a client on the professional service rendered. Let's see how that will appear on the invoice. When you go to your invoice, you click the invoice window. Now look at this section here. Where you should focus on right now is the item list. When you click your item list, you can see now that we have professional service here. Then you can always enter the rate and the amount. When we get to sales transaction proper, I will explain how to fill in this invoice. I'm just using this to clarify the item name we just added. So if you're adding a service, that is how to add your service. So if you run a business where you render service like legal service, like a consulting service, whatever service that you render, this is the best way to add such kind of service into QuickBooks, so that when you create an invoice or a sales receipt, you can always select the service. That's the first major part you need to learn. Now, the next other part of our inventory of our item list is the physical products. The physical product is so important. But before we go to the physical product, because it's very important that if you are going to enter a product, you should be able to relate each of these products to a particular location. Example, you run a multiple location business where you have a branch in Ikeja, you have one in VI, you have one in Lekki, and so on. If you want to add a product, it's very important for you to be able to attribute that product to a particular location, so that you don't just be adding product. And also you should be able to set up an head office for your product, and head office location where each of the products is stored, so that when you are entering your stock transfer, you're able to know how to record this movement. So with that, I'm going to jump this product setup first, then and set up our location, so that at the point of setting up our product, we're able to assign it to a location. The reason is that if I start adding a product now and there's no location, the system will assume that those products are together. So let's see how we can set up a location. To set up a location for your business, you go to stock. When you go to stock, you will see what we call stock sites. Very important. Oh, from this section, we don't have it yet. Here we're supposed to see a stock site. So what we need to do is to activate our advanced stock. So we're going to activate advanced inventory. You go to edit, you click preference, you click item and stock, company preference, then you can see here advanced stock settings. When you click advanced settings, you now say multiple sites is enabled. So what we're telling the system is that yes, we run a business where multiple sites is involved. Then you click OK. When you click OK, you click OK here, then you click OK too. So the advanced stock feature will activate automatically. Then when the system is opening our company now, we already have the advanced stock feature turned on. So that is exactly what we're saying here. So when you go back to your stock, you will see now that we have stock site. So that means our stock site has been set up. So when you click stock site, now this stock site is what you use to set up all the stock location. That means if you have stock in different branches, this is the section you use to add all your locations. To add a stock site, you go to stock site below, then you click new. Now the first location we have is at Ikeja. So here we're taking Ikeja as the head office. So I'm going to put it as HO here. Then we'll click. So here you can see that you can always add, when you go to edit, you can always add other descriptions, site contact, email address, and all that. For the purpose of this, I'm going to add the name only. Then Ikeja. Then let's add other stock site. Here I'm going to pick 3 stock sites. The next stock site we have is at Lekki. So here we'll enter Lekki as another stock location, which is here. Now the third stock site that we have is at Yaba. So enter Yaba here, then we click OK. So right now we have this drop shipping. I'm going to take it off the system right now. So here we can see now that we only have 3 stock sites. So what this means is that we run a business with 3 locations. One is at Ikeja, which is the head office. The other is at Lekki, while the third one is in Yaba. So this is how to add your stock site. Straightforward. You go to your stock, select stock site. But mind you, this feature is only available in QuickBooks Enterprise, which is the highest level. So, but I'm only trying to make you understand the whole features of QuickBooks, where the features of Pro, Premier, and Enterprise are brought together. So, the whole of this particular softwares are brought into. Sorry, I'm bringing in the features of all this software under this training, so that whichever version you find yourself tomorrow, you already know how to use them very well. So when you add your stock site, the next thing to do now is to add your stock. Now when you go to stock center, now this stock center here will show you all the stock that we have. You can see here that we don't have any stock yet. To add a new stock, you click here, stock item list, so it takes you back here. Now you can see that this is the window we actually opened when we're adding our service list. So here I'm going to select stock list. When I select stock list, this is where you enter the product that you sell. But mind you, you only use this section for physical products that you buy and resell. That is what you use stock part to do. So if I'm going to add a product now, assuming I sell computer parts or I sell a laptop, so here I'm going to enter laptop as an item. Then the cost of the laptop has to be entered here. So we'll enter the cost of the laptop as 100,000 naira. Now this particular laptop, is it vatable? Yes. If I pay VAT on this laptop, I have to enter this to select the VAT. But if I don't charge VAT, I will leave it and select non-taxable. So here I'll select the VAT. Now if I have a preferred supplier from which I buy from, I can select. But if I don't have, but these ones are optional, but this is very important. You have to leave it at cost of goods sold. Now if I sell my laptop at a particular price, I am expected to enter the price here. But if I sell it at different prices, I have to leave it at 0, so that at the point of creating invoice, I can always enter the price. Now we have the sales tax. The sales tax too is also 5%. Then I will select this. When we sell a laptop, what account head do we want to take it to? Sales. So that every laptop that we sell, they go to sales account. So you can see that we are still coming back to chart of account. So you need to go back to the video on chart of account to learn how to add both your income, your expenses, your assets, your liability. So here you click sales. Now we've been able to set up our laptop. Now if you look on this section, you will see stock site info. What this help us to do is that now, because we have 3 branches and we're setting up laptop, this feature will let us enter the quantity of laptop available in Ikeja, Yaba, and Lekki. So here you click stock site info. Now you can see quantity on hand in Ikeja. Ikeja is our head office. Yes, we have 120 units of laptop in Ikeja. Now, do we also have any units at Lekki? Enter here, we have 40. Now, do we also have anyone at Yaba? Yes, we have 17 units. What this means is that though we're setting up laptop in for our business, we should also track the quantity of laptop available at each of the locations where our business is domiciled. So at the Keja head office, we have 120 units. At Lekki, we have 40, and Yaba we have 70. So if you have other locations, you can always add the locations, then enter the quantity available here. So you can see that the total quantity of laptop we have is 160. Then you click OK. So which means that we now have the quantity of laptop available here. So you can see that it's 177, which is 120 plus 40 plus 17. That gives us 177 units of laptop. So the system is picking the quantity here. So when you're done with this, or like other information, you can always enter manufacturer's number depending on the laptop you're buying. Then you click OK. Now when you do this, you will see that we have been able to add our laptop on that. So to confirm this laptop that I've added, you will go to home, click your invoice, you will go down to item list. If you go down to your item, you will now see again that the laptop is now available. Also, you can even select the site from which the laptop is sold and all that. So if it's from Lekki, so when we get to invoice, like I said, I will explain this, but I'm only trying to confirm the product that we've added. So if you do this, you will see that it's easier for you to enter the product that you're selling and the locations where these products are stored. So if you have this section, if you have this section set up properly, you will see that it will be easier for you to track your stock at each of your location. So even though you are going to monitor your business from one location, you are very sure that you can always know what is going on at each of your location and all that. So it is very, very important that you understand that. Now we also have a report that will help you. When we get to report side, you will understand that better. We call it quantity on hand by site. You can see now that for laptop we have 120, at Lekki we have 20, Ikeja we have 120, Lekki 40, Yaba 17. All together will give us 170. Now let's go over this again to understand it better. We are going to add another item, and the item here we're going to add here, we are going to call that item, let's use an item that we can easily remember. I'm just trying to think of an item now. Okay, let's assume for a medical center we want to add drugs. A medical center that operates different locations too. Head office at Ikeja, branches we have one at Yaba, we have one at Lekki. How are you going to add that? These are typical examples, these are typical real life situations. You go down to your stock information, then you click new item. Now if you don't want to go through this window, maybe you're using a lower version of QuickBooks, you can always use item list. If you click item list, you can see this section here, then you come to item new, click new to take you back, then you select stock part. You can see it's taking us back to the same window which we're supposed to have filled before. Now if you're also working with a lower version of QuickBooks which is not enterprise like Pro or Premier, you will not see the stock site information. So here what you will see here is quantity on hand, which means you're expected to enter the quantity on hand yourself. But because this is advanced stock, advanced inventory feature, you have the option of entering your stock quantity at different locations. So here we are going to select a drugs. So let's assume that, let's just give it a general name, drugs. Now the question is, what is the cost of that drugs? Oh, this drugs is sold for 120 naira. Is the drugs taxable? No. Then here you come and select non-taxable. Is sales of the drug taxable? No. You select. So is there any specific sales price for that drugs? Yes. We'll select 140 naira. Any account to track the drugs, you select sales. But if you want to select a particular name, to maybe you want to call it drugs, so that when you go to P&L you will see drugs by itself. So you can call the account head drugs. So here you come here, select drugs, which is an income, then you click save and close. Now the stock at site, you click stock info. Now here it's showing you, it's asking you to enter the quantity at Ikeja. Oh, we have 1300 units, 1300 units at Ikeja. We have 540 units at Lekki. Then here we don't have anything in Yaba. Then you click OK. Now if you look at this, you see what we call reorder point and maximum. This is just like a way of getting an alert. Reorder point is like, oh, because you don't want to run out of stock, you want the system to alert you when the quantity has reduced to an extent so that you can make order for new product. Maximum, because you don't want to have excess, you want the system to alert you so that when you get to an extent, you stop buying new order. That's where what these two columns are there for. Then you click OK. If you click OK, here you can see that in total we have 1840 units of this, of 40 drugs. Then if you want to see the distribution, you can see that we have 1003 at Ikeja, 540 at Lekki, then 0 at Yaba. Once you're done, you click OK. So that will also be added to the system. So every product that you sell, so long as you buy and resell them, this is how to set them up. Very, very important. Now we've talked about the first one, which is adding service. Second one is adding your stock. It's very important. Now when we get to the production shelf section, I'm going to teach you how to add a raw material and how to add a finished product. How to add the raw material and how to add a finished product. So here is just basically centered on products that you buy and resell and services that you render. It's very important that you understand this aspect. Now if you look at this, we've also been able to touch the stock site, how to add multiple locations for your business. So it may not necessarily be a product based business. If you have other kind of business that you run, so long as there's movement of items, there's movement of equipment, and it's item that is physical, and you have multiple locations that you want to track, or multiple warehouses you want to track the movement of your stock. Oh, some stock are moving from Lagos warehouse to Abuja warehouse. The same procedure also applies and all that. So if you have any question, you can always send a mail to info@accountingsoftware.com.ng.